Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley Jenkins. Just in time for launch, Nintendo have finally supplied the Switch with its Day 1 update, and right on cue, well, they've smashed all your hopes and dreams to bits, at least as far as online goes. The Day 1 update brings some of the system's online functionality up, such as the eShop, but it also brings back the dreaded friend codes we all know and hate. We all hoped that given Nintendo's online service coming later this year, plus the fact that you can now register for a unique account user ID, that we had finally escaped the wrath of friend codes for this generation, but sadly that doesn't seem to be the case. But, I don't know, who knows, maybe Nintendo will swap over to account user IDs when the full online service goes live later this year. We can only hope. They have at the very least said that they plan to include new ways to search for and add friends post-launch, so it may get better in time. Now we know that Switch units are sold out of stock for the most part at launch, although some retailers like Target, GameStop, and Best Buy have confirmed they'll be getting a few extras for in-store arrivals on day one. But how well is the system going to sell exactly? We all remember the Wii U, or do we? A new report from industry analyst Superdata claims that the console is going to sell 5 million units in 2017, with Nintendo gearing up for a slow and steady pace to sales. By their best estimates, the high starting price and absence of strong launch titles plays the biggest factors there with the 5 million, and that Nintendo will have a lot of work cut out for them to convince gamers to buy the Switch as a secondary device. Besides the Nintendo Switch, the next big console hardware debut we're looking forward to in 2017 is Xbox's Project Scorpio. While we originally thought we might have to wait all the way until E3 in June to hear more about Microsoft's mystery console, it sounds like that may not be the case anymore. Speaking with IGN, Xbox boss Phil Spencer indicated he'd rather make E3 all about the games, with a Scorpio reveal perhaps happening sooner. Spencer said, "Clearly we're going to talk about Scorpio at E3, but I also don't want to take up the majority of the time doing all the things about hardware, so there's a balance there. I want it on stage, it's a great opportunity for us." And considering that E3 is like 3 months from now, yes, it is March already, that could put Scorpio's reveal possibly coming in the next month or two, which is exciting. Square-Enix has been stringing everyone along with the possibility of a PC port for Final Fantasy XV, and they were at it again at GDC this week. During a presentation, director Hajime Tabata showed off the now famous tech demo for Final Fantasy XV on PC, you know, the one running on dual GTX 1080s. The demo featured some pretty impressive visuals, apparently, showcasing the game's boy band running through 100 million individually rendered blades of grass. It's like the new hair. Grass is the new hair. When asked if this meant that Final Fantasy XV would be coming to PC after all, Tabata simply smiled and said, "No comment." Oh, you tease. A follow-up question pressed him about what it was that they just saw, and he said, tech tests. Previously, Tabata indicated that a Final Fantasy XV PC port would feature user-generated quests and mod support, so can we just have this be real already, Square Enix, please? You've released every other Final Fantasy on PC at this point. Come on! Now, if you are starting to feel easy about Mass Effect Andromeda's pending release, it's out in less than 3 weeks, guys. Well, here's a little tiny dose of reality for you. Bioware announced yesterday that the game's previously promised multiplayer tech test won't be coming before the game's launch after all. So, hey, if you signed up, you gave them your email address for nothing. Enjoy the spam. Bioware made the announcement in a blog post yesterday, saying that Andromeda's multiplayer will be on hand at PAX East. Today, they offered a bit more of a comment. Producer Fernando Mello wrote on Twitter, "Sorry we won't have the multiplayer tech test. I know many were looking forward to it, as were we. Long story, but right decision for how close we are to live." So the not beta, not happening. We'll see what this means for the game's multiplayer when it launches on March 21st. Hopefully not a bad sign, but jury's out now. Are you ready for a new hero in Overwatch? One who isn't named Doomfist? We told you. The newest hero is the tank Orisa, who fights with a projectile machine gun that's called a fusion driver, and she's got some range. Overwatch game developer Jeff Kaplan says her weapon has more range than nearly any other tank hero, Kotaku reported. The big machine was built by kid genius Efi Oladele, who made it from discarded parts. Orisa is described as the central anchor of the team, who has a protective barrier and a fortify ability that lets her reduce incoming damage. She also has an attack that lets her pull enemies toward her or slow them down. As for her ultimate move, it's a supercharger that provides a damage boost for allies. If you want to try her now, Orisa is currently available in the game's public test region. Get ready for a super heavy dose of Pokemon nostalgia, guys. The trailer for the franchise's 20th anniversary movie is here, and if you were a fan of the original anime, you'll find a lot that's familiar. The movie, which is titled I Choose You, is actually a retelling of the first few episodes of the first Pokemon cartoon. So you'll get Ash and the gang back up to their old tricks, but with all new animation. The movie is going to hit theaters in Japan on July 15th, but sadly, no Western release date has been set just yet. Bargain hunters, take note, the Oculus Rift just got a significant price cut. Oculus announced that it's cutting the price of its headset by $100 and by the same amount for its touch controllers. That brings the price of the headset down to $500 for the headset, $99 for the controllers, or you can get them both in a bundle for $600. Makes it easy. That makes the bundle cheaper than its competitor, the HTC Vive, which sells for $800 with controllers. It's been a rough few months for Oculus. They just lost a $500 million judgment after a jury partially agreed with game publisher ZeniMax that the headset was built on stolen technology. Ouch, maybe Oculus should have come out with a new VR game called Better Lawyer Simulator. It's an expansion for Job Simulator. Breaking news, Nintendo Switch cartridges taste terrible. I can't believe this is a headline, guys. Also breaking news, you shouldn't need a fucking game cartridge. Yes! Nintendo is trying to prevent children from eating Switch cartridges, I guess because they're small enough to swallow, so they sprayed them with a non-toxic chemical that tastes absolutely terrible. And of course, some adults just had to test it out. According to The Verge, the cartridges taste like insecticide, although how they know what insecticide tastes like, that's I guess a question for another day, and are literally the worst thing. It's actually no wonder they taste bad. Nintendo had denatonium benzoate applied to the cartridges, which is the most bitter chemical compound known to humanity, according to Polygon. As Nintendo rep told Polygon, it's a good idea to keep small Switch cartridges out of the reach of children so as to avoid the possibility of accidental ingestion. Gonna be honest with you, if there's a kid involved, it's probably not accidental. It just seemed like a good idea at the time. And apparently it's also a good idea to keep them out of the reach of adults too, because everyone is sticking them in their mouths, just for funsies. What if you won an award, but nobody came? Well, then you're probably No Man's Sky. The biggest cock tease of 2016 won the award for innovation at the Game Developers' Choice Awards in San Francisco this week, but nobody from Hello Games was on hand to accept it, even though they were at GDC. Polygon said the team from Hello Games was in San Francisco for GDC, but they hadn't expected to win, so they were out eating dinner when the award was announced. Yeah, right. They're probably scared of being ambushed by angry fans who wanted a better game. Anyway, they eventually picked up the award and all was well. Now back to fixing No Man's Sky. That's all the news we have for you guys today. Tomorrow is Switch Day, so it's going to be a big day. We're going to be doing an 8-hour live stream from 11 a.m. Central to 7 p.m. Central, showing off a bunch of the launch titles in all the different Switch configurations that are attached to the TV so that you guys can also see them. It's going to be a good time, but we'll have a bunch more stories for you anyway. If you want to make sure you get those, like this video, subscribe to the know, and then you can have it all. Oh, and if you click the bell, there's a notification bell, and that way you'll be able to see exactly when we go live. We'll see you tomorrow, right? According to The Verge, the cartridges taste like insecticide. Incesticide. That's a difference. Incesticide is a little bit different. Not that terrible. Tastes the same, but somehow wrong.